black, shiny hair. It was a side shot of it walking just like Patty. And the hair would hang down about probably 8 to 10 inches off the arms and legs. And it's just walking through this grass. The thing of it is, there was an opening there in the trees into a field. I've only seen that opening 3 times. And I have finally decided it's not a break in the woods. After 6 years, it's got to be a portal. It's got to be where they're coming in and out at, because I know exactly where the spot's at, where the break in the trees is at. But I've only seen that opening 3 times.
Welcome back to the I Jupiter podcast. I'm your host, Tom Franklin. This week we have on Eric Potts, where he's going to talk about his Bigfoot encounters, his everything under the sun. It's going to be quite the episode, and he said just get ready for some stuff, and that's what I'm here to do, and I hope you guys are ready as well. If you keep finding yourself coming back to the channel, please do me a favor, like and subscribe. If you have subscribed, do me a favor and check to see if you're still subscribed, because YouTube was doing some really funky stuff for about the first 2 months of this year. It seems to have righted the ship, but if you realize that you're not getting the notifications, please click those bell notifications, or also check as to whether or not you are still subscribed to the channel. All the links are down below. If Eric has any links, he'll give them to me. I'll also put them in the links below. That way you can go over and check out anything that he's promoting. We haven't talked about that yet. And I'm glad you guys are here. And you ready to rock? I'm ready to rock. So with all that out of the way, let's welcome to the eye, Eric Potts. Hello, sir.
How you doing?
Alive and well down here in sunny Mexico. How about yourself?
Well, I'm down here in Missouri trying to survive. Tried to flood out last Thursday from the rain.
I think I seen you have some posts up where they're saying if it gets up any higher,
Yeah, it got 10 feet from my back door.
Yeah, so, that's far enough. That's far enough. What are you, down in the southern part of the state? Down below?
I'm in the southeast, I guess northern part of the southeast. I'm between Cape Girardeau and Jackson.
Okay.
Well, I'm between Jackson and Perryville. I'm about 35 minutes north of Cape Girardeau.
I haven't been to the state.
It's in the Ozarks.
Yes, right, which is very important. It's a part of it. I haven't been to the States since 2015 myself. Lived in Germany 20 years, and now I live here on the Yucatan Peninsula with all the jungle here that goes deep into Central America. So it's a pretty interesting place as well down here. I've seen some stuff. No cryptids as of yet, but I have had things thrown at me, and I have heard some interesting voices in the middle of the jungle, in the middle of nowhere. That's another show, and people who know the show have heard the story. But anyhow, Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself, and if you're promoting anything, you can go ahead and do that as well.
Well, I'm 63, and it just seems like I've had stuff happen pretty much all my life, and it's just been weird stuff. We just moved here about 5 years ago. We were down in Kennett, Missouri, where it was just nothing there really. But I did see a cryptic one night. I guess I was around 10, 11. I'm in the generation where you don't come home till the street lights kick on. Me, it was before you go to bed. And me and this neighbor kid was seeing something flying, and there was a full moon up, and it crossed over in front of the moon, and it looked like a human standing with wings from its wrist to its ankles, flying upright. And we both scattered. We both went running for our houses. trying to tell her parents what was going on. And of course, they're, come on, your imagination. And a few years later, there was a show that came on out of Memphis. I think it was Time for Talk or something like that.
Okay.
And they started talking about this cryptid. And it was mainly spotted in southern Illinois. And I was trying to tell my mom, right there's what I seen. And so it all got kind of blowed off. And a lot of times I forget about it. I mean, I just, you know, I don't even think about that experience. But then when I got older, when my dad decided I was old enough to go hunting, me and my brother, my dad, went squirrel hunting. I was dropped off first. It was along the San Francisco River. My brother was dropped off second. He's 9 years older than me. And then my dad went out the furthest. I'm sitting there under a tree, and I'm bored out of my mind, of course, waiting on the squirrels to come back out. And all of a sudden, this old man comes walking by in his black suit, string tie, had on an old hat, long white beard, long white hair. And as he was walking, he just kept turning his head looking at me. And I'm like, what in the world? I've never seen anything like it. Well, next thing I know, here comes my brother and my dad. Come on, we're getting out of here. We ain't coming back hunting here again. And I said the old man was wearing a suit. My brother said, no, he was wearing coveralls. My dad said, you know, I don't know what my dad was thinking. He didn't say.
Okay.
But he was wearing two different sets of clothes. I'm like, that is just so weird.
But you're describing the same individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were describing the same person, only dressed differently. And really couldn't explain why that would happen. You'd think, okay, if this ghost is out there roaming around, it would be probably wearing the same thing, but it wasn't. And then later on in life, I bought a house, married, kids, bought this old house built in 1913. And I lived there for 12 years, and it was haunted. Simple things would happen, like something flying across the room. You'd go get in bed.
Nothing simple about that. I've had that happen. Not simple. It's very frightening.
Yeah. You get in bed and you hear this like a fingernail going down a chalkboard.
Oh my God, dude.
At the foot of your bed, and you'd hear it jump from to other rooms. And I would sit up and ask it to stop. Look, I've got to go to work in the morning. I got to get some sleep. Would you please stop? And it would. But it'd start back up the next night. I mean, you just have to bury your head in the pillow and ignore it.
So you're saying it was intelligent? It was like an intelligent thing? It would kind of understand what you were doing?
Come to find out, a woman and a little girl had gotten burned up in a house fire there back in the 40s. And people had seen the little girl. She'd peep around corners, stuff like that. Okay. My daughter's seen them. They all come Saturday morning. They were in the bedroom playing. They come running into the living room. Come here, hurry up, come here. And so I got up, run in there, and they're like, she's gone. I'm like, who's gone? The little girl, she was right there. All there was a pile of toys sitting there. And I'm like, okay. But I had things happen, like came in from work one morning. I was working a night shift.
Okay.
And I'd laid down on the floor to watch TV. I was dirty. Didn't want to get on the furniture.
Yeah.
And the old house had metal Venetian blinds in it. and I had a cold chill hit me, and the blind just went up like somebody grabbed it, pulled it up, looking
Yeah.
out, and then it
Oh, you
just
mean where they
dropped.
bent? You mean where it
Yeah,
bends in the middle?
it bent.
Okay.
It's like somebody had a hold of it and pulled it up and
Dude.
let it go. And I mean, that was just nuts. And, I mean, what do you say to something like that? And I've talked to other people that my ex-wife, she had went to the school. I think it was a parent teachers meeting or something like that. And one of the women asked her if anything strange was happening in the house. She said, well, what do you mean? She said, the ghost. This woman knew about it.
Your
The
kids were
house
talking.
was in one family for 60 years. And there was only one family that lived in there about 3 years before I bought it. And they had lost the house to the bank, and I've got it from the bank. And they're like, no, they were burned up in a fire, and things would happen.
How did
And
how did
she
the
even came
teacher
back with their names.
how did the teacher know about it?
She was related to the family
Oh, okay.
that owned the house.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And then she brought it up to your ex-wife, and your ex-wife were probably just white as a sheet when she heard that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude,
Oh,
that's
yeah. She's
crazy.
like, you got to be kidding me. Knew who they were. And there was times, like wife and the kids was gone to Little Rock. She was from there. And we, some guys came over. We were playing cards at the table. And one of the guys like, I thought you said wife and kids was gone. I said, yeah, they are. Well, there's a little girl peeping around the corner. And I just stood up, bent over, leaned to look down the hallway, and I said, what in God's name do you want? Well, he just sat there, froze. One went under the table, and one jumped up and went into a corner.
The
And I'm
men.
like, what is wrong with you guys?
The men?
Give me a break. Yeah. Having grown ass men. And they all left. They got out of there. No, they didn't want no part of it.
You were
And
like, bye. You
it took
said
me a
bye.
while before I even went to bed.
I was like, you were like, bye, walked to the fridge and made a sandwich. It's just a normal Saturday night for you.
Yeah. I mean, it was just normal.
Isn't that
You
weird?
never knew what was going to happen.
Just the psychological like thing that happens to us, like something so strange and unusual becomes such a commonplace in your life that for you it's like, what do you want, ghost?
Yeah. Well,
it's such a
I
crazy
got up
thing.
to use the bathroom at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I left the door open, and this voice says, come out here. Well, of course, my head just jerked around real quick. And there's nothing there. And I'm like, okay, flushed toilet, went back to bed, I mean, you just didn't know what was going to happen and when.
Well, it was a voice, a male or female voice?
Female.
Female.
Yep. And it
Here's
seemed to be right there. The hot spot seemed to be right there in that hallway. Because you just had
excuse me,
doorway that came into this larger section, and then a hall that went further down, and you had 3 doors right there.
Yeah, I always found it to be like those disembodied voices are for me much more frightening than to actual see it. Like if I see it, it's like, oh, there it is. I've seen the freaking Hat Man, dude. You know the Hat Man with the. I've seen that thing cross in front of the door frame. Yeah, and it's like, what didn't scare me? I was just like, what did I just see? And I didn't even know it was called a Hat Man then. I just seen it.
Yeah.
But then here in the forest, you hear, what the hell is that? To hear that in the middle of the jungle in the Yucatan, it's a very unnerving thing. You know what I mean? I mean, there's nobody out there, dude. There's nobody for a mile and a half. And that part to go in there, you have to drive through a locked gate that only certain people have. And I know everybody
Right.
back there. And you have to have a truck that can go through the mud with big, Miami mud slicks. You can't just get back there. And I'm
Yeah.
out there with, my ex-wife at the wife at the time and my little girl, and I'm out there in a hammock in the jungle. I'm like, what is that? And it's wild, man. It's a weird thing. But then I just, I said some stuff, and I haven't had any problems since. But at the same time, it's very unnerving. Very unnerving.
Oh yeah. Well, we'd finally gotten divorced, and I left the house to her. And I don't know what went on after that. She eventually lost it about 5 years after I left. And which I'd bought a new house. So I wasn't having any more problems.
Mm-hmm.
And but I had stopped there one time because I seen somebody I knew that I'd went to school with, and she was staying there at the time with this guy. And I asked them if there was any problems, because they even let me in the house, and I was showing them some of the stuff that I'd done in the house and everything. And I said, "There ain't anything weird going on, is there?" And she's like, "Well, not that I really noticed." I said, "You don't hear any noises or like fingernails going down a chalkboard?" And she said, "Yeah, I hear it in my room at night." I said, "Yeah, it's a ghost." She packed her bags and left.
Isn't that crazy? Where they're kind of like, no, nothing
Yeah,
out of the ordinary.
She
And then
packed her bags and left.
That's the human psychology. We're just like, no. And then when you say exactly what she heard, then she's like, yes. It's like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not crazy.
No, she wasn't alone.
Right.
She wasn't crazy. And she even told the guy, she said, "I've been telling you that, and you don't listen to me." And I'm like, oh God. So then I got remarried, and wife's from Indiana, and she wanted to go on vacation in Indiana. And I said, okay, well, she wanted to go up, see some of her family. So we went to stay at her niece's, and we get up there, and her husband says, "Did you bring a digital camera?" I said, "Well, yeah, I've got one with me." He said, "Well, good. We're going ghost hunting." And I'm like, okay. And he brought out this case and says, "Here's my ghost stuff and this, that, and the other." And I'm like, well, this ought to be interesting. I've already had some experience with some of this crap. And we did. We went out to Steep Cemetery. And we'd been out there several times, and every time we go, there's action. Something always happens. I mean, you try using a spirit box, and it's leading you through the graveyard, and it keeps telling you left, left, left. And next thing you know, you're at the entrance, and it says leave.
Took you around the block and made you leave.
Took you all the way around the cemetery, and then told you to leave. We had one where one was speaking to us using a EMF meter, answering yes and no questions.
Okay.
Her child had died out there on this stump, and that's what we were working with, was a stump. And that she said that she didn't know what had happened to her child, basically, and that she wasn't involved in it, but she was out there looking for her kid. And there's even a child grave out there. And I mean, there's a lot of stories that goes with that. If anybody ever has a chance to go to Indiana to Steep Cemetery, go.
Okay.
I mean, my camera, it was just full of orbs. Full of orbs. And in fact, me and the nephew, we were standing there in front of this witch's grave. And this blue orb came, floated over the top of the tombstone, and went into the ground. Now, this orb was probably a little smaller than a basketball.
Okay.
And he's like, "Did you see that?" I said, "Yep." He said, "What kind of That ain't a bug, is it? I said, hell no, that ain't a bug.
And you seen this
I
with
said, that's an
your
orb.
eyes? Would you seen this with your
Yes,
eyes or with the
with
camera?
our eyes.
With your
Yes.
okay, with the naked eye. Okay.
Yeah. Sitting there with the camera down at my side. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. But we had gotten to where that they would come to Missouri. We'd find places to go ghost hunt. We'd go up there, we'd ghost hunt. Well, they were getting ready to come down about 2017 to Missouri, and I'd been working all day Saturday, and I told the wife, I said, we got to find some places to go. And she was there with a couple of girls that she worked with. They were swimming, and they said, well, look up Boogie Woods north of Dexter.
That's interesting.
And it's a conservation area. I forget the name of the conservation area.
Yeah, but the colloquial name is the Boogie Woods is so interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a house out there where a man came home from World War One.
Okay.
And he wasn't himself anymore. And this man commits suicide. He cuts his throat, shoots himself in the head, and throws himself off the balcony. Well, the church that's on the same grounds decided, well, this ain't right. And they took the wife, considered her as a witch, and buried her alive.
Damn.
Now, we're talking about there's Civil War cemeteries out there.
Where's this at again?
Dexter, Missouri. Dexter, Missouri.
Okay.
Called the Boogie Woods. It is a conservation area. I have to look it up on my phone.
Because I'm from Baltimore, so we have Antietam and we have Gettysburg close by, which Gettysburg is super haunted.
Right.
Right. So, okay. All right. So I'm really, yeah.
So I'm reading down through this, and the last few paragraphs is talking about hunters seeing Bigfoot.
Okay.
I'm like, what in the world? Well, me and the wife, we had finally went out there about a year later. They never came. And we went out there about a year later, checked the place out, found the Civil War graveyard, and that's where the church was supposed to be, where the woman was buried. The house, it had just been purchased, so there was no way of getting into it. It was being totally gutted and remodeled.
Okay.
But there was a graveyard there with a church where a serial killer had killed this woman and left her body there behind the church. And supposedly you can see her at night walking the grounds. I wanted to say his name is William Bell, but I don't think the Bell is right. In fact, he's still incarcerated in Missouri prisons.
Okay.
And so we had left, and a couple of years later, it was 2020. I think it was February. You know, because there was some Bigfoot activity out there, and I could kind of see it because there's a landfill near there.
Okay.
That would give a place to go feed. And so I always just had that in the back of my mind. I was still doing ghost hunting, and I was still getting calls to do houses, stuff like that. I mean, one house we done, a woman and her son got into an argument, and the husband went out to the garage and hung himself. And he was haunting this place. And it was couples were in their early 20s. They had this one kid with them that was probably 16, 17. And he was being bothered by the ghost. Well, so we had got there, and I went in there with an EMF meter running. And there was a bar between the living room and the kitchen. And I'm standing there at the bar, and the EMF meter kick on, kick on, kick on. It's like the thing was pacing. It knew what we were there for. It didn't like it.
Okay.
And we got it to answering questions through the EMF, yes and no. But it never would really say a whole lot. It quit. There was quite a few people there.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't sit still, kept moving around. Well, the next night, the couple is sitting on the couch watching TV, the kid's in bed, and all of a sudden he's being drugged through the living room in front of them by his feet. Nothing there. Dragging him.
Yeah.
Grab him, pick him up, throw him in the car. They go back the next day, move out.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't get to go back in that place.
You kind of like turned it. You started being an investigator because of your second wife and her interest in her friends.
Right.
Right. Oh, yeah. So it seems like it's kind of a bit of a calling for you. Like since you were a kid,
I had people that was wanting me to come to their house, tell them what was going on. You know, why is this thing here?
What was the name of the cryptid? The name of the cryptid that crossed in front of the moon. Could you tell me the name of that? You said that it was on a TV show.
It was on a TV show, but I can't remember what it was. But they're very popular in Southern Illinois. And right now I'm right across the creek or the river from Southern Illinois.
Okay.
There is a documentary that is out on YouTube and on Tubi called Grand Tower and Other High Strangeness. I suggest you look at it. The UFOs are thick in here. I've seen 3 UFOs in the last 5 years that I've lived here.
Yes, you sent this to me.
And
yes,
one was right out, the last one was right out here in the yard. Had a water line put across the yard, and I was filling the hole back up. And I sit down, taking a break, and all of a sudden, this thing comes flying across, or this plane is flying across, and I'm just watching it. And all of a sudden, poof, this thing appears. The sun just got it just right. And there it was. And I've seen one streak across the sky while I was out in the Bigfoot woods, which we haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there.
And I seen the triangle one.
You mean like the Phoenix Lights kind of triangle?
Yep.
That size?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. So it's like right here in this area, it's just Spook Central. Well, I had looked on Facebook, found a group that was in Southeast Missouri. They were out of Cape. There was Bigfoot. Well, this guy had put a post from Malden, Missouri, outside of Malden, Missouri, of a Bigfoot print. And I've talked to the guy since, and right in that area is a lot of peach orchards. And he said they were just eating the peaches up. And when the, peaches were done, they went on. That they weren't there permanently. They were just traveling through. But he said a lot of people were scared to go out at night.
Okay.
And I tried to talk to the guy at the time. I said, hey, tell me where you at. I want to know where this is, blah, blah, blah. And he wouldn't tell nobody where it was because he didn't want people coming out there trespassing, wound up in a pasture with cows and have a bull chasing you down. So, I'm like, I've got to get a hold of this group. I'd been following them for a year or two. And I got a hold of them. I've met with them in May of 2020. And one guy was really interested in going out and doing some hardcore camping to find out what it was.
This area that you're talking about where you live? is very highly active. I know of this area. I had a friend drive through this area. His name is Raheem, and his family has something to do with the Kandahar giant. He's actually originally from Afghanistan, right? He's been in America since like 1990, and he was like, "Yeah, I was driving through with my buddy. We're going to pick up some weights and stuff from Philadelphia." And he got freaking scanned in his brain, and the thing had his brain in a lock, and he seen something, like you said, cross the sky.
Yep.
And it just completely messed him up. And when he came out, he was like messed up, like he couldn't breathe because something like literally had him. He said like in a joint lock in his mind. So this area that you're talking about is highly active when it comes to UFOs.
Yeah,
interesting.
It is.
You kept saying southeast, and you're saying Illinois. I was like, how far does Illinois go down to touching Missouri? So I looked up on the map. That's my brain. And I was like, I know where he's at. Yeah, I know exactly where you are, buddy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm 12 miles from Grand Tower. But it takes me an hour and a half to drive there because it's on the other side of the river.
I just had to go down and around.
But I'm 12 miles from, you got a Tower Rock sitting there that's been there for millions of years.
The Grand Tower.
Yeah.
Is there other things there too?
Oh, God, yeah.
There's like Indian burial type mound type things.
I'm living on Indian ground.
The Grand Tower, isn't it the name of it? There's like oh my God, I think I've seen this.
It's a big rock in the Mississippi River, just stands straight up like a big hill. And unless the river's real low, you can't get to it.
Okay.
And the story is that this couple that was in Illinois, they took a boat over to the tower to get married. And on the way back across, they all drowned, except for this one slave girl.
Okay.
And then years ago, a niece wanted to get married out there, and they had traveled back to it, and supposedly the dad from that first wedding party had came up and gave her some type of tablet and went back into the water.
Is this what you're talking about, Eric? Is this what you're talking about? This
Yep.
This limestone deposit?
Yep. I'm 12 miles from that.
And this place is super.
And Grand Tower is right on the other side of the river.
Okay. And this place is hyperactive when it comes to UFOs and all that?
Yes. Yes.
I was thinking of something else, but okay.
Hold up. You passed the power plant.
Here on the right?
Yeah. There was a power plant you passed there. And Grand Tower, that's the power plant that, the documentary I was in talks about a UFO hovering over the top of that, draining power out of that power plant.
No kidding.
No kidding. I was there for the Bigfoot. For the Bigfoot bit. Blech, getting tongue tied. But yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, all that was
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I like to pull it up and give people a visual of what you're talking about, So the more we learn, the better we, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
cool.
Back to 2020, I met with a group, and me and this other guy was gonna start going out together. Well, I had to work that Friday, so I was going out Saturday afternoon. Now I had a 100-mile drive, and he came out the day before. Well, me and the wife had to run over to Jonesboro, Arkansas. That was only an hour from the house. And so we were having dinner, and I got a text that the guy got run off out of the camp.
Okay.
And I'm like, what do you mean he got run off? And supposedly a group of Bigfoot, and I'm talking probably about 25, 30 of them, came to the camp and ran him off out of there. In fact, it said that he unzipped the tent and he had one about 10 foot in front of him. All he could see was the silhouette, and he stuck his gun out the door and started shooting. And instead of it going quiet, it went nuts. And so I showed the wife, I said, we need to go. And so several years before that, I had a camper.
Okay.
And I sold all my camping gear, tents, everything. So we stopped, got a couple of sleeping bags and a couple other things, went to the house, got some clothes, threw it in her car, headed down there, or headed up here. And we showed up right about 8 o'clock at night. He had just left, but the group was still there. And they were telling me about it after I got out of the truck and I hit the ground looking. And they're like, well, there was a footprint over here. And I said, well, what about this one? What about this one? What about this one? What about this one? Here's one up by the road. And it's at a slant. The heel is in about 6 inches. The toes are in about 3. Grass all around it. I mean, I was surprised to even find it. And reached in there and you could feel the toes. I'm like, this thing came down.
That's so cool. I'm sorry,
dude. So much power. Now, the ground up here is clay.
Okay.
And that year it was a drought.
Okay, so it's hard and cracky and cracked and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could take a hammer and beat on this ground and it not dent. But when it gets wet, you better believe it stays wet for a while. And you know, and everybody's like, you got to be kidding, you know? No. Well, I'm looking at the other side of the road because it came from over there. And this all-terrain was driving by. He stops. Said, did you lose something? I said, well, I was just kind of looking around. I said, a buddy of mine apparently ran off out here last night by something. And I was just looking around to see some kind of clues. He said, well, I don't know about him last night, but for the last several days, well, he said 4 days, somebody had been camping and they were throwing fish over on the other side of the road. And the guy said they wasn't throwing just the carcass, the bones, you know, the leftovers, the gut. No, They were throwing whole fish over there for 4 days. And
yeah,
I mean, if you go out for 1 or 2 days and you want to feed them, you know, okay, but don't be out there throwing enough food out for a clan. And that's what happened. They showed up, wanted to know where their food was, and went ape. Literally.
Yeah.
Me and the wife decided we were going to stay. Now, this is probably the second time I've met with a group. And they said, well, man, I hear something about you can do a Bigfoot call. I said, yeah, I've worked on it at work and stuff. And so I done it. This was at 11 o'clock. I got a reply back. And you could tell it was a ways off. I'm like, okay. Well, they all left at midnight. Me and the wife was staying. We were sleeping in the back of our car. And I told her the only way we're going to be comfortable is we leave the back hatch open. Nope, ain't going to happen. And,
sounds like me.
Oh, God, that was so
that's exactly how I say stuff. It ain't going to happen.
So they left at midnight. So from midnight to 1, we're sitting there in the dark. We didn't have no lanterns, no fire going, no nothing. The only light that was going was off her phone. She was reading a book. And I'm sitting there watching the hillside in front of me. And we're both sitting there. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what is that? Woman. Well, she started blaming me. I started blaming her.
Oh, I got what you're
Because
saying.
the stench hit our nose.
I got you.
And for about 30 seconds. And it wasn't either one of us. One had gotten so close to us we could smell it. Didn't have a clue then that that's what was going on. We didn't have a clue. Well, she decides 1:00, well, I'm going to get in the car and go to sleep. Said, okay. She gets in the car. Here's this yell right down the road. This thing had done come up looking for me and was wanting to call back, and I ain't calling this thing. Ain't happening. And so I got in the car, and that was it. And then the next night, another couple had met us there, which they had a tent, and we were sitting out on the picnic table, and her son and a friend showed up, and they were walking up towards us, and I seen this light go whoop, just fly straight up and stop.
Okay.
And I'm like, whoa, we got something going on. Well, he so happened to have a set of binoculars that was night vision, that was military.
Mm-hmm.
And he got it on it, showed it to me. And I said, you're not focused in yet. Get it focused. He got it focused in, and sure enough, it was the triangle with 3 lights. Yeah, it's a triangle.
Right.
Even though it was quiet that night, and the cops did show up looking for me.
What are you looking for you for?
My kids.
Oh,
They thought we were going out for one night. We were out there for a second night, and half the state of Missouri was looking for me.
Well, that means your kids love you, dude. That's awesome.
I'm serious.
That's great, though. That's a good.
Yeah, I'm sitting in a screened-in tent with the 2 women, and the other guy was out there on the picnic table watching the skies, since we'd already seen that. And the cops show up, and they're like, we're looking for Eric Potts. And I said, yeah, that's me. Can we talk to you over here? Well, they were making sure we wasn't being held hostage against our will. And they're like, you're okay? I said, I'm absolutely fine. My daughter must have misunderstood. And she said, okay. Well, can you answer us another question? I said, all right. Can you prove to me that Bigfoot's out here? I said, yeah, let me get a flashlight. I got over there to that footprint that was in the ground. They started pulling their phones out and snapping pictures. The one female cop that was there was from Alaska.
How did they know to ask you?
Because the kids knew what we were out there doing.
Oh, the dad's out there looking for Bigfoot. We're afraid he got grabbed up. Oh,
yep.
Okay, I got you. All right.
Yeah. And she was from Alaska and had an experience when she was 5 years old camping with her family.
Oh, yeah, dude. And
with a Bigfoot slapping the side of the tent and yelling and screaming. And she had no clue that there was any around here. Wow. Yeah. And so that was pretty shocking. And then, then it got pretty normalized after that. The cop was there for about an hour and a half. And so a couple of weeks later, me and the guy that got run off, we meet out there, we go camping. Another couple shows up checking on us, making sure we're okay, because there's just no phone service out there at all. And we sat there, and she had gotten on the phone, called her wives, let them know that we were fine. And so they left. Now, this is June. And June of 2020. And we're sitting there. They leave, and he's like, "Are you going to do your call?" Now, 7:15, it's not dark until about 9 o'clock. Come here, my dog. Oh, Tucker's little sport. And she just loves me. And the little mini weenie. And so I said, "Well, yeah, I'll just go ahead and do it." So I pulled my phone out, put it on record, and I done the yell and got nothing. You know, I stood there for a few minutes. So we're like, "Well, that didn't work out, did it?" I walked to the back of my truck, got a soda, got in front of my tent, and this scream just inside the woods behind my tent. I'm talking, this thing probably wasn't 20, 30 feet from me.
Oh my God, dude.
Was screaming at me. It was the longest, loudest, most guttural scream I've ever heard. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, how did you, what kind of effect did that have to your body? Like, did your hair stand up?
You could feel it. You could feel the pressure, the decibel pressure on your body. And I'm just standing there looking over the top of my tent at the woods. Now, this guy's up by the road. He's scared to get near the woods. He's up by the road. He's a little ways from me. He had to put his shoes on, get out of his tent. He's standing next to me saying, see, I told you. And I just look at him and I look back at the woods. And it finally stopped. And I'm like, what have I got myself into?
Could you see it?
No. It was it was like a horseshoe. There's like a horseshoe of woods going around the camp.
Okay.
And then behind it is a field, big field. I wasn't running into them woods. No way. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And we're standing there and man, it's nuts. 10 o'clock that night,
and you stayed?
2 groups of them. One group back in the field, back behind us. The other group was up by the creek. They were yelling and screaming at each other. 2 different groups of them. I mean, it was shocking. I mean, they were just going at it. And finally, the group down by the creek started moving off. And you could tell they were moving off because they were still mouthing as they were walking. And they had moved on off. Well, there was at least 3 in the field behind us. And it sounded like it was one of the 2 F's. You know, it's like, you know, one was squealing, one was, and the other one sounded like he was giving his opinion.
Okay, I got you. Cursing somebody out.
And I'm like, oh my God. And this went on for like 45 minutes. Yeah. And then the next night, they were up on the road. We throwed some chicken out. And apparently the other guy, he could hear him eating the chicken. And there was only one piece of chicken missing. And he said it sounded like the guy must have had a bad tooth or something and bit into a bone, put out a moan. I was passed out, so I didn't hear it. So that was the first 2 times I stayed out there.
And I
was out there every other weekend and holidays for 2.5 years.
What's it called? The Booger Woods? What's it colloquially?
No. This is on up into the Cape in Cape County. I'm out of I'm away from Dexter. I'm driving 100 miles. We were told about this conservation area where they were at. And that's where we went.
Okay.
And sure enough, that's where they were at. And For 2.5 years, every other weekend, holidays, everything, there was so much that went on. I've seen this thing 6 times.
Okay.
Anywhere from the outline with the reddish orange glowing eyes staring at me
Okay.
to one walking across the field in broad daylight. And the one walking across the field in broad daylight, black, shiny hair. It was a side shot of it walking just like Patty. And the hair would hang down about probably 8 to 10 inches off the arms and legs. And it's just walking through this grass. Well, the thing of it is, there was an opening there in the trees into a field. I've only seen that opening 3 times. And I have finally decided it's not a break in the woods. After 6 years, it's got to be a portal. It's got to be where they're coming in and out at, because I know exactly where the spot's at, where the break in the trees is at. But I've only seen that opening 3 times, and I know exactly where it is.
Wow.
And it's got to be a portal. And in fact, I've only admitted to that for probably the last 3 months, 4.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. That makes sense, man, because like you're trying to freaking rationalize. I mean, first of all, it's hard to rationalize what you're seeing, what you're hearing. Going up there becomes your main interest. And then this keeps happening in this particular area. And eventually you have to come to some type of understanding of what you're seeing. And to say something to yourself like a portal, it has to be a portal. That
the only thing it could be.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm trying to say, man. It makes complete sense to me. It really does.
Because I know exactly where it's at, and there's trees. I've gone through there so many times driving, looking for it, and can't find it. Cannot find a break in the trees. Nowhere. But then I'll drive through there. Boom. There it is. Where it's supposed to be.
Are you telling me that okay, so I understand this correctly. Are you saying that there's a little field in the woods that sometimes exists and sometimes doesn't exist?
Yep.
I'm trying to picture it in my mind, like a little meadow of sorts.
Yeah.
Is it natural looking, or is it more like
it's natural looking? It's just tall grass.
Okay, cool. So I mean like a farmer's field.
Tall grass.
Okay. Because this is something I've been hearing in another area that we don't know. I don't know where it is. And if you go there, you have to sign an NDA. It's called the Meadow Project. You might be aware of it.
No, I haven't heard of it.
Well, it's a place that somewhere is in southeastern United States. We don't know exactly where it is. It's somewhere in the deep, dark woods somewhere where this guy has come across a field. His name is Trey Hudson. And he's a former military guy, so he and his friends are really annotating everything. And they're finding cubes out there, weirdness. It's just a high strange. Yeah, dude. You got to get in contact with him, talk to him, because this thing where you're seeing a meadow sometimes and not seeing it others, that's new to me. Yeah, that's a new one to me.
I've told the wife I'm going to have to go out there and set up a trail cam across the road from it, because apparently that opening will open up during the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can get this thing opening up or closing,
that's what he was telling me.
Prove my point.
Yes, sir. He was saying to me, Eric, that like when there was one time where he was crossing out of the meadow into the wood line again, or across a creek or something.
No, it was just out there. It was out there in the field, in the meadow, walking.
No, what I'm trying to say, this is Trey Hudson experience. I'm trying to connect it with what you're saying. So maybe we can get. He's saying that he thought he was going one direction, crossing a creek into the field or something. Next thing he knew, the person was like, "Hey, why are you coming back? You're supposed to be going that way." He got completely turned around, and he was thinking maybe that has something like it connects to the 411, where people are walking somewhere, they walk into a different area that didn't exist the moment before, and they get turned around. Next thing you know,
Right.
they're in a field that you see
Yeah.
sometimes, and sometimes you don't.
Right.
Dude, that's incredible.
And I think that's where they're coming from.
It makes sense.
I think that's where they are coming from. Frankly, I just thought they lived out there in that area. In fact, one of the campsites, there's 2 campsites out there. There's a cave up near one of them. And an hour before daylight, there would be wood knocks calling them in because they're up there in this cave. Well, I've been told that the cave is caved in, but apparently not. Apparently they've got access. But I think they are coming and going.
And calling each other in. Like, hey,
Yeah.
it's time. Like,
Yeah.
they're kind of running, funny enough, like some kind of shift work.
Right. And
Wow.
I mean, that's the only thing I can explain is that there's about a mile stretch right here that I know where it's setting. I know exactly right where it's setting because there's a little road going up to the end of the woods, but it's got a, gate across it.
Right.
Because when I seen that thing, I started to jump out of my truck and run down that road to get to the end, by the field where I could record it. But I had kids coming up from behind us and we were afraid we were going to get hit rear-ended by them. So we didn't. We just went ahead and went on to the house. But me and my wife both watched it. But I was out there with Miguel from Squatch Theory. We were out there and I was talking to him and I told him I'd show him that break in the woods. Couldn't find it. And I'm like, something ain't right. Why is it sometimes I see it and sometimes I don't? The times that I'm looking for it and I don't see it, I sit there and think, well, I just probably missed it. But apparently I didn't. Apparently it must have shut down. And it's the only thing I can come up with.
There's no other.
I mean, the only thing.
There is nothing else that you can possibly think of.
No.
Maybe portal is just a dirty word that's been used so much, but there's some type of break in 3-dimensional space and time of some sort in which one moment you can see it with, the reality that we're seeing it, and then one moment you can't, but you've seen it before, and it seems to be emanating or coming from there. Yeah.
To me, there's an explanation for everything. There's got to be something that makes absolute sense, not something just way out there,
But sometimes the way out there is the answer. You know what I mean?
That's the problem.
Right.
That's the problem.
But that makes it why you enjoy it as well. Let's be honest with you. Let's be honest with the people and everyone else. This is scary. It's untouched territory. This whole thing.
Yep.
And it's human nature to want to know. It just is. People like it. If not, horror movies wouldn't exist, and the Legend of Boggy, none of that stuff would ever exist because we want to know. So wanting to know the answer is what drives us forward, which makes us interesting, which makes all of it interesting. And I completely and utterly understand it. And for some reason, it seems that you have been somehow either tagged as a kid with that experience you had, whatever that thing crossed in front of the moon, and everything else that's involved, and you're still going out to this location.
Not as often. We turned around. I was driving up here so much, and we had decided we were going to move many years ago. We'd been in the same house for like 18 years, and the town was just going downhill. The hospital shut down. I said, I don't care what's on your honey-do list. I'm throwing a for sale sign on the house. Took us over a year to sell it, and we moved up here. I'm 20 minutes from the area.
Oh, you moved closer to the area so you can be closer to it. All right.
Yeah, and the creek in my backyard goes to that area.
Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. Much more to that interview. There's a lot more to that interview. And if you want to see that, all you have to do is go down in the link below. It's a membership tier called Inside the Eye, and you get any, how will I say this? Any interview over an hour. You guys can go ahead and click on that, $8.99 a month. And of course, all silver membership tier levels and perks will be included. I hope to see you there. Go ahead and sign up. Link in the description below.